Good morning, afternoon, and evening. My name is Shannon, and today I'm going to be going over my fall recommendations and TBR for the year of 2023. So I figured I would start on my recommendations first. Good morning. This is me. This is editing Shannon here. I was going to make a fall recommendations and TBR video. However, I have since learned that that video would probably be an hour long, so I'm going to be splitting them up. So this is the fall recommendations video for books for fall, and I will be uploading my fall TBR video after my next video, which is going to be a reading vlog. So stick around if you want to see that. So let's just get started. So if you just watched my most recent video, you would understand why I'm recommending this. But my first recommendation is the Harry Potter series. This entire series is just, in my opinion, perfect. This series is perfect for fall. It just makes you want to cuddle up under a blanket with a candle lit. That's how I read the entire series, and it was amazing. It's just perfect. The main reason I'd probably say that this is the perfect fall read is because of the academic setting. So these books are all based, well, the last one isn't really based in Hogwarts, but they're all based in an academic setting, and it just gives perfect fall vibes. This series is so amazing. I spent an entire week reading this entire series, and I could not have loved it anymore. It was time well spent. And if you want to see my more in-depth thoughts, I just uploaded an hour-long vlog of me reading this entire series. But this is definitely one of the perfect fall series that I would recommend. The next series I would recommend is the Shatter Me series. So this series, if you are not yet aware, it's about a girl named Juliet who her touch is fatal, and she's in an insane asylum, penitentiary kind of thing. And she ends up being pulled out by a man called Warner, or a boy. He's a boy. He's like 19, I think, in the beginning of the series. And he pulls her out of the asylum under the pretense that he wants to turn her into a weapon for the use of the reestablishment. Things are not what they seem, though, and it gets very much more complex. It is a long series. It was originally just supposed to be a trilogy, but she ended up making all these other books. And this is kind of part of my TBR as well, because I still have 2 novellas and the last book to read. But this series is really good. I really want to finish it. I could probably finish it in a day if I wanted to. I just need to put my mind to it and be in the mood for it. Okay, next, the Off-Campus series. This series, I don't know how I fully feel about all of them because I've only read the first one. I've only read The Deal. That is the one that I'm pointing to, yes. So The Deal is about Hannah and Garrett, and they start fake dating because she wants help in order to get this guy. She wants attention. She wants his attention, and Garrett says he'll help her if she helps him get a good grade in this class that she's doing really well in. And things just kind of progress from there. And the other books are about other ones of Garrett's friends. It's also a hockey romance, if that interests you at all. I really liked The Deal. I can't speak on the others, but I would also like to read these in the fall time. Okay, next. Technically, this is a series. Most of these are series, I'm not gonna lie. But next we have the Knock 'Em Out series, which is the Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. Normally, I wouldn't recommend these as fall books. However, the last book in the series, I think it's called Things We Left Behind. It's the last book in the series. It is my most anticipated book in the series. I'm so excited for that book to come out. It's going to be fantastic. It's definitely going to be a second chance romance, enemies to lovers, Grumpy Sunshine book, and I'm so excited. I think it comes out, let me look at my calendar real quick because I do have it written in my calendar. Yes, so it comes out September 5th, and so that's right before our fall starts. So I figured I would recommend these just so if you guys want to read the last book, you should definitely get a start on these as well. This book, Things We Never Got Over, I definitely gave it 5 stars. I loved this book. It's Forced Proximity, Grumpy Sunshine, Single Parent. It's so good. It's about Knox and Naomi. Naomi has just run away from her wedding, and she runs into Knox in this small town where she was supposed to be helping her sister, and her sister is like an evil sister, and she left her kid behind for Naomi to take care of, and Knox seems to be the one that just keeps helping her out of problems. He ends up getting her a cottage for rent that's like right on his property, and they end up being neighbors, but they end up fake dating because her parents actually catch them when they're just messing around, and so they pretend to date as well. Very good, 5 stars. And then this book, Things We Hide from the Light, is about Knox's brother Nash, and he's a police officer, and Knox's best female friend, Lena. Lena is kind of like, she's such a badass. She's so sassy, and Nash is just recovering from a gunshot wound that he got in the first book, and so he's going through a lot mentally with everything that comes with being shot and the trauma of that. And so they end up being neighbors because she's on a mission for her job in this town, and they end up leaning on each other for support with things, and things get kind of complicated from there. But it's really, really good. Not as good as the first one in my opinion, but I gave it like a 4.5. Still really good. Next, also a series. My reading vlog should be coming up in a couple of days, but I read this in it, the Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This book was amazing. It was so good. I also have to recommend The Ballad of Never After, which is the next book in this series, because I read that as well. But I only have it on my Kindle because I'm waiting for the paperback to come out in order for me to read it, because I'm not gonna have one book in the paperback and the others in the heart. It's just not gonna happen. So this book is about Evangeline. She is desperate to stop who she believes to be her true love from marrying her sister. And so she goes to a special church for the Prince of Hearts, and she ends up praying to the Prince of Hearts, also known as Jax. And he shows up and he's like, I will stop this wedding if you kiss 3 people when I say. Like, yes, he picks the person, he picks when it happens, and if she agrees to that, he will stop this wedding. And she ends up taking the deal, and things just progress from there. And the second book is even better than this one, and it ends on a major cliffhanger, one that I'm definitely still not recovered from. And if you watch my reading vlog going up in a couple of days, you will see that. But it was, oh, it's such a good book. I would highly, highly recommend this series. It's YA, but it's still really good, and I love Stephanie Garber's writing. The way that she writes certain things, it just my brain in a certain way. After thinking on it, I think I'm going to rate this book and the second book 5 stars. And the third and final book in this series is coming out, I think it's October 24th, and I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to be reading it the day it comes out, and oh, I just can't wait. But highly, highly recommend. Another romance book is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is also a college romance, hockey romance. It's very good. I rated this 5 stars. It is about Anastasia and Nate. They are Grumpy X Sunshine. She is a figure skater and he is a hockey player. Something happens where they end up having to be in a forced proximity and having to share the same ice rink at their college, and she is having no parts of it. She does not like him at all. She does not like the hockey team at all. She blames them for what's happening and how she's losing practice for her Olympic qualifiers. But he is enraptured with her and he just wants to get close to her, and it is very good. It's so good and I would highly recommend it. So I have to do it. So I'm going to recommend you guys A Court of Thorns and Roses. This series is a 5-star series for me. The second and the third books are 5 stars for me. I honestly like the third book more than the second. I know that's kind of a controversial opinion. I just love the whole revenge plotline in this so much that it just makes it so amazing. I would reread this over this any day, and it's so good. But the original premise of the first book is that a girl named Farah has been supporting her family by hunting and like selling the pelts, having them eat the meat, and one day when she's hunting in the woods, she sees this wolf and she thinks something is off about it. Like, it looks too big, it doesn't look entirely wolfish, like something looks wrong with it. And so she ends up killing it, and she sells the pelt, all this kind of stuff. And a couple days later, a member of the Fae comes to reckon with her and demands that whoever killed the wolf step forward and admit that they did it. And she steps forward and he's like, I will either kill you here in front of your family, or you can come live with me on my manor for the rest of your life. There's no leaving. You just have to live there for the rest of your life. And so she ends up agreeing to do that, and she finds out that he is actually a high lord of the Fae. His name is Tamlin, and she has to go live with him for the rest of her life. And things just keep getting more and more interesting, and there's something going on in the Fae realm that she does not understand, and it's coming to reckon with her and Tamlin, and she wants to put a stop to it. Anywho, highly, highly recommend this series. Okay, technically it's not a full series, but it is a part of a series. Fourth Wing. This is the perfect fall book. It is romantasy, it is academic settings, it is dragons, it is, oh, it's so good. If you don't know what this book is, which I highly doubt you don't, given all the people that have spoken of it, this book is about a girl named Violet, and she has to join the Riders Quadrant because her mother is a general within the military, and she's like, my daughter will not be a scribe, my daughter will be a rider. And so she goes to the rider's quadrant, in which most people die. Like over a half, I think it was, of the class dies. Just as a statistic, most of the classes, half the students die at least. And she has to survive, and she has to get a dragon, and she ends up meeting up with her childhood friend named Dane, and everyone, including her sister and Dane, are telling her to keep away from Xaden because he is a child of one of the revolutionaries that was executed because they were revolutionaries. But she keeps having this draw to him and he to her, and it's very, very interesting and it's incredible. I will say my favorite characters are probably dragons. Cairn, and I can't remember what Xaden's dragon is, but they are so amazing. Their personalities, I never would have thought the dragons had incredible personalities, but these ones certainly do. And I would highly recommend you read this if you have not yet. The last series I have to recommend you guys is the Inheritance Games series. Again, you have all probably heard about this by now, but it is about a girl named Avery. Yes, a girl named Avery who one day gets pulled out of her high school class to be told that she has to go to the reading of the will of this guy she has never heard of, never heard his name, doesn't even know who he is. And so she ends up going, and when she is there, she learns that he is a billionaire with a capital B. He has a very extensive family as well. And at the reading of the will, they learn that she has been named the main inheritor. Is that the word? Benefitor? I don't know. She receives the majority of everything he owned when he was alive. All the money, the house, everything. And so she is incredibly confused, wondering why this guy she never knew left her all of this. And mostly his grandsons are also intrigued into this, because he was a very big mystery guy. He would leave them riddles and clues and secret passageways and all these kinds of things to help them solve the riddles. And so they all think it's one last riddle for them to solve that their grandfather left them before he died. And it just goes on from there. I haven't fully read this series, so for my TBR this fall, I would also like to read the final 2 books in this series. I only read the first one. I only have like 3 more books to recommend you guys, and then I promise I'll get to my giant TBR right here. So, one book I have to recommend it to you guys. It's called Greenwich Park by Catherine Faulkner. She is my favorite thriller author. Again, I haven't read a lot of thrillers, so grain of salt, but this book is exceptional. This is about Helen. She is pregnant in the start of the book. She is roughly halfway through her pregnancy, and she starts going to one of those like Lamaze or birthing classes, and when she is there, she meets Rachel. Rachel is the exact opposite of what you would picture a pregnant woman to be like. She smokes, she drinks, she's very carefree. She is not the average pregnant woman, and she ends up befriending Helen, and they form a very odd dynamic, and she starts bumping into Rachel at random spots, and she thinks it's a little odd that she keeps bumping into her. Then one day, on her and her husband's anniversary, lo and behold, Rachel shows up at their door and has to stay with them. And a little after this, they end up throwing a party, and Rachel disappears, and later she's found dead. And everyone's suspicious. Everyone has odd links to her that no one would expect for them to have. And you suspect everyone, and it's so good. I definitely didn't see the end coming, at all. And it's also multiple POVs. We share, I think it's 3 different point of views. We have the point of view of Helen, obviously. We have the point of view of Katie, who is Helen's friend, that's a journalist. And then we have the point of view of Helen's sister-in-law, who I believe is named Serena. So it's very twisty and turny, and you suspect everyone and no one, and it all seems like too much of a coincidence for everyone to know this girl somehow. But it's really good. I would highly recommend it. I'm really surprised some of you. So the book that actually got me back into reading was Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. This book is a Twilight spin-off, kind of. So I prefer romance books where we get both the woman's and the man's point of view, just because I love getting the male perspective in romance books, because it's so good. It never disappoints. And so when I saw this book, it instantly intrigued me. I read this book in I think a day and a half, and I don't know that I would find it to be 5 stars if I reread it. I would like to reread it actually this fall, just because it was around this time last year that I got back into reading it. So it seems fitting that I read it again and fully annotate it properly. This might actually be the next book I read now that I say that out loud. This sounds like something I'd really want to do. It's just about 700? It's just about 650 pages, so I feel like I could read it in 2 days if I really tried, but I would definitely be interested in rereading and annotating this properly, because I didn't even give the description. This book is the first Twilight book or movie from completely Edward's point of view. I was enamored with this. It was so good. I read it in the car while we were going on the way to a baseball game. I read this book fast. It was really good. It was so good. I would highly recommend this if you like the Twilight series, or if you just really enjoy romance books from the man's point of view, because this is what that is. And yeah. The last book I would recommend before we can get into my TBR is By a Thread by Lucy Score. This book is a 5-star book for me. It is about Dominic and Allie. Allie works at a pizza joint and many other jobs in order to take care of her father, who is struggling in a nursing home financially. And so one day Dominic and his mother go into this pizza shop and they instantly get off on a bad foot, him and Allie, and he ends up getting her fired from her job, which she can't really afford to be fired from anywhere. So she's kind of screwed. But on her way home, his mother tracks her down on the bus and is like, I will give you a job if you come in to my headquarters, building, whatever you want to call it. I will give you a job and you will be working under Dominic. Although he cannot fire you. He is your boss, but I am your employer. So he does not have the privilege to fire her. It is so good. You can see that Dominic is going through a really large mental battle in his attraction to Allie, because he doesn't want to be like his father, who previously had his position and abused his position of power over employees. But it's so good. It's kind of not Grumpy X Sunshine, but maybe Grumpy X Sassy, because she just doesn't take his shit, and I love her for it. She's one of my favorite female main characters. I just love her. And I think this was also a 5-star read for me if I didn't say that. But that is the last of my recommended books. Alright, this is editing Shannon again. I just wanted to close out this video because my outro for this video was obviously filmed with the intent of it being a recommendations and TBR video, so I didn't think that fit here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more book content. I upload as often as I can. I try to do every 4 days, but you never know, life could get in the way. And if you want to stick around for my fall TBR video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified right when it goes up. I hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world. Bye!